Hi again. In Samuel Andrews' Christianity and Anti-Christianity and Their Final Conflict, this chapter on St. Paul and his teaching about the man of lawlessness, etc., he goes on, although the term lawless one expresses most clearly the characteristic and leading feature of this last enemy, yet the other terms applied to him by St. Paul must be considered as adding many important particulars to our knowledge. He is called the man of sin, the man in whom sin is, as it were, embodied. In him the fallen nature of man, which is not subject to the law of God, or can be, is most fully summed up and revealed. As the risen Christ is the representative of the redeemed and holy humanity, so is the man of sin of the sinful humanity, which refuses redemption. As the essence of sin is lawlessness, this lawlessness in its final development is the absolute rejection of the law of God. Thus is the man of sin fully pervaded by it. He is, on the one hand, fitted to be the perfect instrument of Satan, and can be endowed by him with all power. And so, on the other hand, is he fitted to be the head of all lawless men, and the leader of all the enemies of God and Christ. He's also called he who opposes, the opposer, the adversary. As Satan is God's inveterate enemy, so is he. He sets himself in opposition to all that God would do. He's also the son of perdition. This designation was applied to Judas by the Lord. It implies that he who is so described is by his own acts devoted to perdition, one to whom, above all, perdition is the proper retribution. He cannot escape it. He is also one who exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. The spirit of pride, of self-exaltation, is so developed in him that he claims divine honor. He will not worship any god, but will be himself worshipped. As to this claim to be God, three suppositions may be made. That he claims to be the God of the Jews, Jehovah, and therefore seats himself in the Jewish temple, and as such is to be worshipped. This, though affirmed by some early fathers, is wholly incredible. Still more is it incredible that he claims to be the Christian God, the Father. Antichrist denies both the Father and the Son. That he claims such limited divinity as was affirmed of the Roman emperors, apotheosis. But the emperor was deified because he was regarded as the embodiment of the state, which had a sacred or divine character. As such embodiment, he was enrolled among the gods. This apotheosis was an honor originally given by the Roman Senate, and only to the emperor, and usually after his death, though later given by the emperor himself, in occasional instances, to some member of his family. It is said by Thiel in his History of Religion that, quote, the cultus of the emperors was pursued with such zeal that games were instituted in their honor, temples were built, special priests appointed. But it clearly appears from the apostles' words that this man does not regard himself exalted by any act of man, or as merely one of many deified men. He comes not in the name of another, but in his own name. He exalts himself above all that is called God, or is an object of worship. He claims a homage that is paid to none beside. He shows himself that he is God, and thus is exalted above all that is called God, above all polytheistic deities, all deified men, whether demons or spirits or heroes, above every being who can be an object of worship. A fuller discussion of the ground on which this assertion of divinity is made will come up when we speak of the pantheistic tendencies of our time. And then he has a note. As all prophecy which finds its complete fulfillment in the remote future has something in the present which serves as its foreground and gives it form and meaning, so it is here. It is said by Burton in his church history that the Gnostic philosophy in St. Paul's day was beginning to be widely spread, and that he probably alluded to it in the passage now before us, that is 2 Thessalonians 2. It is generally agreed that in Simon Magus, who we meet in Acts 8, verse 9, you remember, we meet a representative of this philosophy. The Gnostics occupied themselves with the old problem, how to pass from the infinite to the finite. This they did by means of a series of emanations, or of spiritual beings, interposed between God and the human race, and appearing, as occasion demanded, in the human form. Such a being was Simon Magus. He was believed to be the greatest of these, the great power of God. It is therefore not improbable that the Christians to whom St. Paul wrote may have better understood his words about a man claiming divine honor than later generations wholly ignorant of Gnostic ideas. And then he goes on, we have still to speak of the relation of the man of sin to Satan. His coming is after the working energy of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. As his endowments are superhuman, so also his energy. Here also he appears as the counterpart of the Lord. As the Son received power from the Father to do his works, so does Antichrist from Satan. As the Son has no will of his own, but did the Father's will, and so was his perfect instrument, so the man of sin is the perfect instrument of Satan, doing in all things his will. As to his endowment with all satanic power and authority, this point will meet us again in our examination of the teaching of the Revelation. But it is said by some that the apostle here speaks of pretended miracles, wonders, and signs, which are only illusions and deceptions. This is affirmed on the ground that Satan has not the power to work miracles, God giving to his messengers only this power, in order to serve as their infallible credential. But in calling them lying wonders, the apostle does not affirm that they are unreal, but that they are wrought to confirm lies. This appears from the context, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth. But as they who had the love of the truth believed the Lord's words, and needed not the miracle for confirmation, so they who have not the love of the truth will believe Antichrist's word. But as the Lord confirms his words, the words of his servants, by signs following, so Satan will confirm his lies by miracles, that he may take all captive. Next time he's addressing the hindrance to the revelation of the man of lawlessness. Put in a link to our meditation on 1 John 2, where we meet the Gnostic tendencies full-formed in the days of John, about 95 AD, maybe the last writing of the New Testament. And in there you have, interestingly, 3 Gnostic tendencies that are visible in Jehovah's Witnesses' religion, the Watchtower. See you next time.